Welcome to the Bourbon Experience. My name's Austin. Today I'm reviewing Heaven Hill Heritage Collection 17 year and 18 year. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Heaven Hill 17 year from the Heritage Collection, which was the 2022 release. I'm going to be comparing that to this year's Heritage Collection release, the 2024, which is the Heaven Hill 18 year. Before I get into this, if you could please like, comment, and subscribe. I give samples away pretty frequently to people who subscribe, and then I'll have them leave a comment or whatever and like the video. But if you stay subscribed, then you can stay up to date on all the cool giveaways. I just gave away the 2022 and 2023 Thomas H. Handy sample. Before that, I've given away SE4 PR5 and Maker's Mark Cellar Aged sample. I've given away a flight of Weller samples, which included the CYPB. So yeah, just subscribe, stay up to date to make sure that you get entered and get a chance to maybe win some cool samples. Also really helps the channel grow. That being said, let me get into this. So the first one that I'll be reviewing is the 17 year, and this came out in 2022. It is 59.1% or 118.2%. It is a blend of 17, 19, and 20-year-old bourbons. Distilled from April of 2000, January of 2001, and January of 2004. So obviously they have to call it 17 year because that's the lowest age stated. This is the lowest age whiskey in this blend. So they had to go with 17 year, even though it contains 19 and 20-year-old bourbon as well. Whoops. When this came out, this was a huge hit. People were going crazy for it. Secondary market started at like $1,800 or something crazy, and then have since worked their way down. They went down as low as like $600 or $700, and then they've kind of gone back up to around $1,000. This one just fluctuates a lot. As you can see, this bottle is almost empty, so it'll be maybe not almost empty, but it's very low. It'll be interesting to see how it compares to the 18 because there is going to be that fresh crack versus being open and had a lot of airtime. So there'll be a caveat or a grain of salt with that. I opened this bottle when I had a special occasion in my personal life, so I opened this to celebrate that. And I won't get into what I thought about it at the time or what I've thought about it since then until after I review this right now. So it's been a little while since I've had it, but if you look, it's very dark, very oily. The legs on this taking a while to beat up and going down. Great color, great oiliness to it. People go crazy for this thing. When it first came out, they were saying it's better than BTAC. I mean, this was just blowing people away. Ooh, okay, so right off the bat, that has a really dark nose. A nice sweet oak on the nose. I mean, smells like dark brown sugar. I mean, it's a very well put together Heaven Hill nose. It smells like right on profile with like a really good Elijah Craig barrel proof or something like that, with just more age on it. Yeah, maybe a little bit of cherry in there too. A little bit of like that perfume note that you'll get with some dusty bourbon. There's a little bit of that in here too. So I'll say a little bit of perfume, like dusty bourbon perfume note, a little bit of cherry, dark sweet oak, brown sugar, and then it like fills the navel cavity, or it fills the nasal cavity, like the like just that thickness. That's really nice. Maybe even like a coconut now. Man. That is so much better than what I remember it being. Everything I said on the nose translates. There's a milk chocolate thing that I get with really old bourbon. There's that oak is like very prevalent, but it's not too much. There is that dark cherry. There is, I mean, I don't want to go as far as say like medicinal cherry, but like kind of in that realm. And that coconut comes through. And I always get the coconut on really old stuff. Not always, but I mean, it's pretty prevalent. So, I mean, this just tastes like a really good ultra aged bourbon. I remember it being a little bit lackluster. I will say this, I had it in a flight of some pretty ridiculous things that consisted of a lot of really old Heaven Hill bourbon and some other high proof Heaven Hill bourbon when I opened it. So it kind of was lackluster. It didn't stand up quite as much to those other things in that flight, which maybe wasn't fair to do, but I was just expecting so much out of this thing. So I thought it would be the clear winner, but I'm not here to talk about any of those right now. I'm just talking about this one. I reviewed the 2023 Eagle Rare 17, and this blows that away. And everyone went crazy for the 23 Eagle Rare 17 because it was a 19 year. And this is 17, 19, and 20. I don't know what the difference is on secondary between the two right now, but this is clearly better than that one and a lot of the other old stuff that I've had. I'm really impressed with this. I don't know what else to say. Very impressed with this one, more so than I remember. I can see why people raved about it and loved it, and I had a lot of friends tell me that this was the best bottle of the year for them when it came out, so 2022. Off memory alone, now, you know, hindsight, looking back on it 2 years later, I could see where they would get that. I could see that opinion and kind of agree with it. I had just compared it to some other stuff that was pretty ridiculous. So this let me down. And I think the airtime, every time I've drank this, it's changed. The coconut's there now, but it's subdued from when I first opened it. When I first opened it, it was super prevalent. And it just kind of, it was like the milk chocolate, the coconut, the oak was very, very prevalent. And that the cherry note was kind of not as there. It just wasn't maybe as refined as I wanted it to be. It's really come along nicely since being opened and drank down pretty low. So with that being said, let me get into the Heaven Hill 18, which is this year's 2024 release. I got this somewhere between MSRP and secondary, closer to secondary if I'm being honest, but I really wanted to try this. I wanted to review it. I saw it pop up at a decent price, so I kind of jumped on it. Otherwise, I didn't really have any intention seeking it out because, like I said, this 17 year was kind of lackluster up until just now. Okay, that was difficult, and I ended up pulling up the entire the foil and the tax strip, and the cork just came right out of that. That's not the best thing. But so the 17 year was a blend of the 17, 19, and 20-year-old stuff. This all comes from stock that was distilled at the end of 2005. So December 27th, 2005. So it's not a blend of stuff. It's like all 18 year. And because I was, I don't want to say let down, but kind of let down compared to what my expectations were of the 17 year, at least at first. I wasn't really in a hurry, or, I mean, I love Old Heaven Hill, so I'm always going to want it, but I wasn't going to go out of my way too hard or too crazy to track one down. And I also had the Heritage Collection from 23, which was the 20-year corn whiskey. Tried that at a bar, local bar. It's still there. That bottle's still at that bar. And I was really, really let down when I had it. I had a flight of, they had the Old Fitzgerald 17 year, the Old Fitzgerald 19 year, and they had the 20 year, basically mellow corn, the Heritage Collection from last year. Tried them all in a flight and was severely let down by the 20 year. So then when I saw this, I was kind of like, well, I didn't like last year's 17 year, didn't live up to what I wanted it to be. Whatever. But I'm always going to want to get old Heaven Hill products, so I jumped on this when I could. Color on this one is real nice too. I would say the 17 year is darker, has a nicer color than the 18, but it's okay. I'd say just as oily and viscous. Takes quite a while for the legs to develop and run down the glass, so I'd say they're very comfortable in that regard. Oh, interesting. This is much more delicate on the nose, and it's more fruit forward. The oak and the coconut is not as prevalent in this. There's almost like a grape thing, like maybe like almost like a Buffalo Trace grape thing, which obviously it's not, but it's just fruitier than the 17. There is the brown sugar in there. Yeah, notably absent though is that coconut, and not super oak forward on the nose. Dark sugar though too, dark brown sugar. A little bit of perfumey note from like a dusty bourbon. Whoa. That's crazy. I can see why people say this one let them down compared to the 17, but they're just completely different. So if you went into the 18 looking to get another one of the 17 or get the exact same thing, they are very, very unique from each other. So this is gonna sound weird. This is almost like some kind of popsicle, like a fruit popsicle, and then the wood from the popsicle stick at the after you bite it down, or after you work it down to the stick. Yeah, have you ever seen those like oversized from Costco or whatever big box store? They're the individually packaged orange cylindrical shaped popsicles. That's kind of what this thing is, or maybe even like a cherry, not Otter Pop, but popsicle. Just, yeah, that's the brand, Popsicle. That's fun. I didn't expect that at all. I didn't get the peanut butter. I didn't get maybe a little bit of milk chocolates in there too. The oak is there because I'm describing the popsicle stick, but that's different. That's fun. It's a little bit drying. That's okay though. I mean, I think that's the best way I can describe it. That is a popsicle with the stick and all. Okay, I'm going to compare them next to each other again real quick. That's crazy. And yeah, so like I said, I could see why people would be let down by this one if you were expecting the same thing from the 17 year, but I really wasn't. And from what little reviews I had seen, I saw that they were different. So I wasn't expecting them to be the same. And then just from my personal experience of having the 20-year corn and seeing how just night and day different, and granted that was it's a corn whiskey, but seeing that they're very different than the 17, I don't think that Heaven Hill's going for a specific profile. I think they're going for maybe a certain profile for that particular batch, where they have a certain stock or lot of barrels that they're looking to use for these, and whatever that profile is for that lot is kind of what they're going with for that year. I don't think they're trying to, we put out this 17 years, so now we're going to put out 20, and then now we're going to put out this 18, and we want them to all taste the same. I don't think that's what they're going for. which I'm actually kind of on board with. So you get one year that you really like, and then, okay, you chase that one, and then another year comes out, and maybe that's not your thing, and it's not like you have to get every single year all the time as they come out. Oh, yeah. The 17 years getting like this coffee and chocolate thing now, coming back to it after having this. Maybe even some like root beer candy thing. Man, this is more rich for sure, and more dark brown sugar. Yeah, I mean this is almost like bourbon concentrate now, smelling it. Yeah, leaves a lot to be desired of the 18. Sure. It's definitely worth comparing the two because they have similar age statements, they're the same recipe. You know, that's a fair comparison to make. But I don't recommend making the same comparison because they're very different. So the nose that I just described on this, I get with a lot of Pirate bottles, the old label Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, which I'm not going to compare this to those right now. I'm going to do a whole thing about Pirate bottles at some point. This doesn't taste like a Pirate bottle though. This is, the coconut comes through and is more drying and more tannic. So I'd say the nose is more pleasant on this than the palate is. But coming to the 17 after the 18, it just the 17 really became elevated. But yeah, then this is more delicate, like I said. Cherry or grape. Brown sugar. Just lighter. Still very good. This is going to be an unpopular opinion. I already know. And I do think that there's the fresh crack thing is a very, very real thing. I can't even say that I prefer the 18. The 17 has really, really grown on me. They're I don't know how many ways I can say this. They're very different. I am pleasantly surprised with the 18 though. This is just a nice, fun sipping bourbon. It's very good. If you have a chance to get the 18 year this year's and are hesitating because you don't think it'll live up to the 17 or whatever, I don't know. I'd say go for it. I really like this thing. I'm glad that I opened it. I'm glad that I pulled the trigger on it. I wasn't sure. Like I said, I really wasn't even thinking about going for it, but all in all, I'm very pleased with it. And I'm even more surprised about how much the 17 has grown on me too. So both of these are fantastic. They're very different from each other. They're both miles above the 20 year. I would love to try that 27 year. I don't think I'll ever be able to try that thing, but that Heritage Collection, the 17 or 27 year, I would be very intrigued on how that is. But anywho, that's where I'm leaving this one. As always, the bourbon experience is all about good pours and great times with whoever you're with. Whiskey's meant to be enjoyed, so crack those bottles. Cheers.